Chapter 101. The dim light shone on her face, coating it with a thin layer of light. It was as clear as jade. Lindsay did not expect her to be a girl about his age. In Lindsay's impression, little girls were usually delicate and weak. A girl actually had such quick reactions. It was somewhat impressive. After a while, Lindsay finally reacted and pulled his hand back. At this moment, a young woman ran over from not far away. She was wearing a beige down jacket. Zhuo, what's wrong? Zhuo looked back slightly and looked at Lin Sha. Nothing. After saying that, Zhuo looked at Lindsay. How are you? I'm fine too. Lindsay shook his head slightly. That's good. Zhuo smiled. After hearing Lindsay say that he was fine, Zhuo followed Lin Sha and left. Lindsay looked at the backs of the two of them and was stunned for a moment. Moreover, this was a stranger that he had never seen before. However, Lindsay felt an inexplicable sense of affinity with her. It was as if they had known each other for a long time. It was a very strange feeling. Could it be an illusion? Lindsay just looked ahead until the two figures completely disappeared into the crowd. He did not come back to his senses. Brother Zay. What are you looking at? Liwen walked over and patted Lindsay's shoulder. Only then did Lindsay come back to his senses. Ah. Nothing. Liwen curiously looked in the direction that Lindsay had just looked. He did not see anything special, so he did not think too much about it. Let's go, Brother Zay. Let's go drink. Lindsay followed Liwen. Lindsay had a lot on his mind, so he drank a little too much and was tipsy. They were all 18-year-old teenagers, and their upbringing was very strict. They were so drunk that they naturally couldn't go home. It just so happened that Asface's parents were on a business trip, so the three of them discussed going to Asface's house. Tomorrow was Saturday, so they didn't have to worry about going to school. They went to Asface's house, took showers, and all squeezed into one bed. Soon, they fell asleep. When Lindsay woke up, the snow outside had stopped. The sunlight shone in through the window, and it was a bit dazzling. The snoring in the room was incessant. The snoring of the 18-year-old boys was getting louder. Lindsay picked up his phone and looked at it. It was already 10:30 a.m. Dog 2 had already woken up. Only he, Fat Tiger, and Zhao were still asleep. Lindsay pinched his temples, lifted the blanket, and went to the bathroom to wash up. He had been to Dog 2's house many times and was very familiar with it. After washing up, Dog 2 came in from outside. As it took off its hat, it said, "Brother Zay is awake. I bought breakfast. Are Fat Tiger and Motzi still asleep?" Lindsay nodded. "I'll go wake them up." Assface placed the food on the table and ridiculed, "You really can sleep. You've been sleeping since 11 o'clock last night. Are you pigs?" Assface lifted the duvet and opened the window. A cold wind blew in from the window, freezing the two people on the bed. They quickly woke up. "Damn, it's so cold. What the hell are you doing so early in the morning?" Dog 2 smiled and said, "Motzi, take a good look at who I am. Also, it's almost 11 o'clock in the morning." Only then did Liwen wake up. Dog 2 threw the clothes to them. "Get up quickly. Brother Zay is waiting for you to eat outside." Liwen reluctantly put on his clothes. Fat Tiger said as he put on his clothes, "Did you buy my favorite meat buns?" "Yes." Assface nodded. "Hurry up, it's almost time for lunch." Among the four boys, Assface was domestically capable. No matter what the situation was, he could handle trivial matters in an orderly manner and take good care of the other three. Liwen was a life mentor. Although his academic results were not good, he was especially outstanding in dealing with people. Fat Tiger was the simple-minded type. He didn't care about anything. Whatever the other three did, he would do. Lindsay was the quiet type. He rarely spoke, but he was a man of his words. The boys washed up very quickly. In less than 10 minutes, the two appeared in the living room refreshed and began to eat breakfast. At this moment, an urgent phone rang. Lindsay put down the half-eaten steamed bun and picked up the phone. He didn't know what was said on the other end of the phone, but Lindsay said okay and put down the phone. He looked up at Dog 2. Where's your computer? Lend it to me. Chapter 102. I'll go get it for you. A moment later, Dog 2 brought the laptop to Lindsay. Lindsay took the laptop and came to the French window. He sat on the floor and kept typing on the computer keyboard with his hands. Fat Tiger asked curiously, "What do you think Brother Zay is doing? Is he being mysterious?" "Who knows?" Liwen spread his hands helplessly. Lindsay was always so mysterious, and the three of them never pried to get to the bottom of it. About 10 minutes later, Lindsay came back with his laptop. He pressed the keyboard with one hand and chewed on a bun with the other. The other three chatted on their own and did not disturb Lindsay. After breakfast, the three of them carried their school bags and went home. Lindsay had just returned home when he ran into Feng Qianhua. Feng Qianhua asked with concern, "Where did Zay go last night? I heard from your grandmother that you didn't come back all night." "Thank you for your concern, Auntie Feng." Lindsay's tone was very indifferent. Feng Qianhua continued, Zay, you are now at a sensitive age where you are curious about everything. In the future, try not to spend the night outside. Otherwise, your grandmother and I will be very worried about you. Did this Feng Qianhua really think that she was the mistress of the Lin family? Lindsay's eyes showed a hint of impatience. At this moment, old Mrs. Lin's voice came from inside. Zay, come in for a moment. Coming, Lindsay replied and walked inside. Old Mrs. Lin sat on the sofa, her expression a little ugly. Where did you go last night? Grandma, I was at a classmate's house last night. At which classmate's house? Lindsay didn't answer. Is it that Dog 2? Old Mrs. Lin continued to ask. Yes. Lindsay nodded. Old Mrs. Lin slammed the teacup in her hand onto the table. The boiling hot tea splashed directly onto the back of her hand. Grandma. Lindsay was shocked and quickly handed a tissue to old Mrs. Lin. Seeing this, old Lady Lin sighed, Zay. How many times has Grandma told you? Grandma doesn't interfere and doesn't object to you making friends. However, birds of a feather flock together. Who is Dog 2? Who are you? Being with such a person will only lower your status. Lindsay's hand paused. Grandma, he is my friend. He's not your friend. Old Lady Lin said angrily, he's not from the same world as you. That ass-faced parents were just ordinary white-collar workers. They bought a house in Beijing and took out a loan. What right did such a person have to be Lindsay's friend? Poor people were surrounded by poor people. At that time, Lindsay would be surrounded by a bunch of poor people. Back then, she didn't control Lin Jincheng properly, which resulted in Lin Jincheng not knowing the principle of birds of a feather flock together. In the end, he got together with Yi Shu. The door wasn't right, the family wasn't right. Damn it! He had a child out of wedlock. If Lindsay continued like this, sooner or later, he would follow in Lin Jincheng's footsteps. Grandma, Assface is my friend. No matter how rich or poor, everyone in this world is equal. I hope you don't look at him differently. You don't even listen to Grandma. Old Mrs. Lin looked at Lindsay with heartache. She remembered that Lindsay was very cute and obedient when he was young. Lindsay would do whatever she said. Since when did Lindsay start to disobey his grandma? Lindsay looked at old Mrs. Lin and said seriously, Grandma, I'm 18 years old now. I can tell right from wrong. I know what kind of friends to make and what kind of friends to avoid. If you listen to Grandma, cut ties with that Dog 2. I'm sorry, I can't do that. Old Mrs. Lin was as angry as Lindsay was indifferent. This reminded her of Yi Shu. If Lindsay's mother was Feng Qianhua, he definitely wouldn't disobey her like this. Grandma, if there's nothing else, I'll go back to my room first. After saying that, Lin Zhe turned around and left. Looking at Lin Zhe's back, old Mrs. Lin was so angry that her face turned pale. Feng Qianhua walked in from outside and comforted old Mrs. Lin. "Aunt Lin, Zhe is still a child. He will only understand many things when he's older. Please don't be angry." Old Mrs. Lin sighed. "This child is getting more and more unreasonable now. He spends all day with those low-class people. Sooner or later, he will be led astray by those people. Xian Xian is still sensible. She has never worried you since she was young." Chapter 103. Feng Qianhua smiled and said, "Xian Xian, that child, just looks sensible. In fact, she isn't settled. Besides, girls mature faster than boys." At the mention of Feng Xian Xian, old lady Lin's expression softened a little, then she said, "Xian Xian's birthday is in a few days, right? Xian Xian is the only granddaughter of our Lin family. At that time, I have to prepare a gift for her." Old Madame Lin had long treated Feng Xian Xian as her biological granddaughter, so she did not mince her words. "She's just a child, why would she need a present for her birthday?" "Aunt Lin, you mustn't spend money." Old Madame Lin rebuked, "It's not for you. I'm preparing it for my granddaughter." "Don't say such things in the future," Feng Qianhua continued. "I know that little sister Yishu has always been in Jin Cheng's heart. Aunt Lin, I've never had any delusions of marrying him. I just need to know that brother Jin Cheng is living a happy life." Hearing this, old Madame Lin looked at Feng Qianhua with an additional layer of sympathy. It had been so many years. This child was still so kind. 18 years ago, if she had fought for it, she would not have given Yishu a chance. From this, it could be seen that being too kind-hearted was not a good thing. Old Madame Lin patted Feng Qianhua's hand. "What nonsense are you talking about? You are the only daughter-in-law in my heart. Unless I close my eyes and leave, Jin Cheng will not be able to marry another woman." Feng Qianhua had already wasted 18 years of her youth for Lin Jincheng. Old Mrs. Lin would never allow her to wait another 18 years. Thinking of this, old Mrs. Lin sighed again. "Qianhua, what are you doing by my side all day? Go and accompany Jin Cheng." "Oh right, I asked someone to boil some tonic soup for Jin Cheng. You can send it to him later." If Feng Qianhua had put all her attention on Lin Jincheng, she would have married Lin Jincheng long ago. "Brother Jincheng needs to rest now, so I won't disturb him," Feng Qianhua refused directly. Old Mrs. Lin held Feng Qianhua's hand and continued, "Aunt Zhang is right. That child, Zhe, doesn't know how to think of danger in times of peace. I was hoping that you would give our Lin family another child." "Aunt Lin," Feng Qianhua said with a red face, "don't tease me with Aunt Zhang." "I'm not teasing you." Old Mrs. Lin said seriously, "You and Jin Cheng are still young, what's there to be afraid of in having a child?" After saying that, old Mrs. Lin asked the servant to bring the tonic soup over and handed it to Feng Qianhua. "Go! Go quickly!" Helpless, Feng Qianhua could only bring the tonic soup to Lin Jincheng. The car stopped at Beijing Hospital. Feng Qianhua went straight to the inpatient department on the 7th floor. Lin Jincheng was staying in a VIP suite. There were 2 bodyguards guarding the door. Lin Jincheng's bodyguards did not know Feng Qianhua, so they stopped her. Feng Qianhua smiled and said, "Old lady Lin asked me to deliver the soup to brother Jincheng." The 2 bodyguards looked at each other. One of them opened the door and went in. After a while, he came out. "The boss asked you to give the soup to me." Feng Qianhua was stunned for a moment. Then, she handed the thermos to the bodyguard. "Well, how is your boss recovering?" The bodyguard said very officially, "The boss is recovering very well. You don't have to worry." A trace of gloom flashed in Feng Qianhua's eyes. Lin Jincheng had always been like this. He didn't give her any chance. If he hadn't been so heartless, she wouldn't have married Feng Xianxian's biological father in a fit of anger. But this time, she would never let go of Lin Jincheng's hand. She would definitely take the position of Mrs. Lin. Damn straight. That position belonged only to her. Feng Qianhua clenched her fingers, her eyes flashing with determination. On the other side, because she had promised Sun Shaoqing that she would treat him to dinner on Saturday night, Yi Zhao went out for a walk during the day and spent the evening in the hotel looking for a restaurant. After finding a vegetarian restaurant with a good reputation online, Yi Zhao looked up at Lin Sha and said, "Sister Sha, let's go out for dinner tonight." "You're treating that Mr. Sun to dinner?" Lin Sha asked. Yi Zhao nodded slightly. Lin Sha held her phone and said, "I won't go, Zhao. "Why?" Yi Zhao asked in confusion. Lin Sha continued, "Mr. Tsun's aura is too strong. I can't fucking handle it. Every time I get into his car, I feel like I can't breathe." Lin Sha was not lying. She was really a little afraid of Sun Shaoqing. Although he was very handsome, amazing, and devoted to Buddhism and vegetarianism, that kind of fear came from his bones and could not be controlled. Chapter 104. Maybe this was bloodline suppression. After saying that, Lin Sha asked curiously, "Aren't you afraid of Mr. Tsun at all?" Yi Zhao raised her eyebrows slightly. "What's there to be afraid of? He doesn't eat people. I can't describe that feeling either. Anyway, it's scary." Lin Sha continued, "Go ahead, I'll wait for you at the hotel." In fact, Lin Sha had some thoughts. Sun Shaoqing was obviously not an ordinary person. Yi Zhao was not an ordinary person either. Although Sun Shaoqing was a vegetarian and worshipped Buddha, Lin Sha felt that Sun Shaoqing treated Yi Zhao differently. What if the two of them really got together in the future? She did not want to stay and be a third wheel. "Sister Sha, we're going to the most famous vegetarian restaurant in the capital tonight. Are you sure you don't want to go?" Yi Zhao asked. "Yes, I'm sure." Lin Sha pushed Yi Zhao out. "Oh my. Don't worry about me, you should go now." Yi Zhao picked up the hat hanging on the clothes rack and put it on her head. "Sister Sha, I'll go now." "Okay." Lin Sha nodded. The restaurant was not far from the hotel. It would only take 20 minutes to walk there. Thinking of the traffic congestion in the capital, Yi Zhao did not take a taxi and chose to walk instead. Although it was a sunny day, the snow on the road had not melted. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, when the sun was setting, the sunlight reflected a golden light on the snow. Yi Zhao was wearing black tights, a white sweater, a knee-length beige woolen coat, and a hat. There was a layer of gauze in front of the hat, which made her jade-like face faintly visible. The people passing by all glanced at her. 20 minutes later, she arrived at the vegetarian restaurant. When she arrived at the appointed seat, Sun Shaoqing had already arrived. The man was sitting by the window. He was wearing a plain robe and holding Buddhist prayer beads in his hand. He was looking out of the window indifferently. The crystal light reflected on his well-defined facial features, making his already cold face even colder. It was as if his entire body was covered with a thin layer of ice. The chill he exuded was breathtaking. The waiters who passed by did not dare to look directly at him. "Mr. Tsun, you're here so early." Yi Zhao walked over. Sun Shaoqing looked back slightly. "I'm only a minute or two earlier than you." Yi Zhao took off the hat on her head and placed it on the empty seat beside her. Sun Shaoqing reached out and poured a cup of tea for Yi Zhao. He reminded her, "It's a little hot." Yi Zhao leaned over and sat down. She took a sip of the tea. It was refreshing and sweet. It was good tea. Yi Zhao took another sip. "Mr. Tsun, have you ordered yet?" "Ladies first." Sun Shaoqing handed the menu to Yi Zhao. Yi Zhao took the menu and was a little surprised. With Sun Shaoqing's current status in China, it was really not easy for him to uphold the etiquette of ladies first. Because with his status, he did not need to curry favor with anyone. In the capital, or even in the entire country, he was an existence that could cover the sky with one hand. Perhaps, this was a person's cultivation. Yi Zhao ordered a few of her favorite side dishes and handed the menu to Sun Shaoqing. Sun Shaoqing added 2 more dishes. The dishes were served very quickly. Yi Zhao did not stand on ceremony with Sun Shaoqing. She picked up her chopsticks and started eating. After shopping for a whole day, she was indeed a little hungry now. She was the kind of person who did not pay much attention to her table manners. She would do whatever was comfortable. However, her natural ease often appeared to be the most graceful. Sun Shaoqing tilted his head slightly. The first thing that entered his eyes was her eating with great concentration. Was this dish really that delicious? Sun Shaoqing picked up a piece of broccoli and chewed it slowly. The taste didn't seem to be anything special. However, seeing that she was eating so well, Sun Shaoqing unconsciously ate a little more. When they were almost done eating, Yi Zhao called the waiter over. "Please give us 2 more servings of dessert." The waiter nodded. "Okay." Sun Shaoqing's thin lips parted slightly. "Just 1 serving will do. I'm already full." "It's all right. Serve me 2 servings," Yi Zhao said. "I can finish them both myself." Sun Shaoqing. He suspected that Yi Zhao had never intended to order for him at all. After the dessert was served, Yi Zhao began to focus on eating it. This was the first time Sun Shaoqing had met a girl who could eat so much. He had 4 older sisters. In order to maintain their figures, his older sisters only ate a little each time, as if they were feeding a kitten. They did not even dare to touch dessert. Chapter 105. This caused Sun Shaoqing to think that girls' appetites were very small. He did not expect that not all girls' appetites were so small. If his 4 sisters knew that they did not dare to eat this or that every day on their diets, and that they were not as fit as those who ate and drank recklessly, they would probably be angered to death. While Yi Zhao was eating dessert, Sun Shaoqing sat on a chair, holding his prayer beads. Although no one spoke, the atmosphere was not awkward at all. About 10 minutes later, Yi Zhao finished her dessert and went to the bar to settle the bill. However, she was told that the bill had already been settled by Sun Shaoqing. Yi Zhao looked at Sun Shaoqing. "Mr. Sun, I said I would treat you. Why did you settle the bill?" Sun Shaoqing smiled faintly, and his slender fingers circled the red prayer beads. "It doesn't matter who pays. If Miss Yi really feels bad, there's a tea house not far away. Miss Yi can treat me to a drink. I'd also like to ask for a game of chess." Yi Zhao raised her eyebrows slightly. "You want to play chess with me?" Sun Shaoqing nodded slightly, and his sexy Adam's apple moved up and down. Yi Zhao took out her phone and looked at the time. It was not even 7 o'clock yet, so she nodded and said, "Okay." The 2 of them came to the door together. Sun Shaoqing opened the passenger door and invited Yi Zhao in. Yi Zhao leaned in. The car was very big and spacious. It was just like Sun Shaoqing himself, serious and meticulous. After a while, they arrived at the entrance of the tea house. The 2 of them walked into the tea house one after the other. Sun Shaoqing was a regular customer. As soon as he entered, he was warmly greeted by the manager. "Mr. Sun is here. This way, please." As the manager spoke, he secretly sized up Yi Zhao. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Usually, Sun Shaoqing would either come to drink tea alone or come with Li Qiandong. He didn't expect Sun Shaoqing to bring a girl this time. Moreover, she was so beautiful. He had long heard that Sun Shaoqing had a fiancée in Yunjing. Could this be Sun Shaoqing's fiancée? In a short period of time, the manager's mind was already filled with questions. He led them to Sun Shaoqing's private room. The private room was decorated very simply and elegantly. Everywhere they looked, they could see an antique style. A chess set was placed on the table at the side. "Please, Miss Yi." Yi Zhao nodded slightly and sat down cross-legged. Sun Shaoqing sat opposite her. The manager brought over the freshly brewed golden melon tribute tea. The steam curled up, blurring both of their faces. In terms of chess skills, Sun Shaoqing was clearly not a match for Yi Zhao. It had only been half a game, but Sun Shaoqing was already defeated. If people who did not know saw this, they would think that Sun Shaoqing was deliberately going easy on her. Sun Shaoqing frowned slightly. "I lost." Yi Zhao smiled and said, "It's normal to lose to daddy. After all, as long as daddy doesn't want to lose, no one can win against daddy." Daddy? Yi Zhao actually wanted to be his daddy? Sun Shaoqing looked at Yi Zhao in disbelief. After saying that, Yi Zhao realized she was not live streaming. She usually said "daddy" out of habit during live streams, but she did not expect to slip up in front of Sun Shaoqing. Seeing Sun Shaoqing's surprised look, Yi Zhao was slightly stunned. Why was this Sun Shaoqing acting like an old man? He didn't even know that "daddy" joke. Mr. Sun doesn't usually go online. And he doesn't watch live streams. Seeing the disdain in Yi Zhao's eyes, Sun Shaoqing coughed lightly and changed the topic. "If Miss Yi were me, what would you have done?" "Of course it would have happened this way." Yi Zhao picked up a black piece and placed it to the side. "It's said that you sacrifice a pawn to save the chariot, but that's not entirely true. Sometimes, a small pawn can easily change the game and break the deadlock. For example, this. Life is like chess, chess is like life, just like we can't look down on anyone." The chessboard that had been settled suddenly became bright at this moment. Sun Shaoqing's eyes lit up. He also picked up a piece and placed it beside Yi Zhao's hand. "This is what I should do next. If your chariot comes, my cannon will take your chariot." "Mr. Sun, do you think you've won just like that?" Yi Zhao raised her eyebrows slightly. "What else?" Sun Shaoqing stared at the chessboard intently. Could it be that Yi Zhao still had a backup plan? Yi Zhao smiled slightly. "If you take my chariot, my horse will checkmate." "Mr. Sun, do you know what this is called?" Sun Shaoqing did not expect Yi Zhao to really have a backup plan. This is fucking incredible. Chapter 106. Yi Zhao's pale fingers picked up a chess piece, and her tone was indifferent. This move is called "the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind." High. Really high. Sun Shaoqing was not stingy with his praise. What a good mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Yi Zhao said modestly, "It's just average, you're too stupid." For the first time in his life, the high and mighty Sun fifth master was pointed at his nose and called stupid. Moreover, by a little girl. However, not only was he not angry, he instead said, "It's because I'm short-sighted and didn't foresee the checkmate." "Actually, your chess skills are pretty good," Yi Zhao continued. "Usually, very few people can make me use my real skills. You're, well, actually the second one. The first person should be that netizen called Layman." "Then who's the first one?" Sun Shaoqing furrowed his brows. Yi Zhao said concisely, "A netizen I met during a live stream." "A netizen? Which netizen? Was it a man or a woman? How old was he? Where did he live? Had they met before?" Perhaps even Sun Shaoqing himself did not realize that not only had he thought of so many questions, but he had even furrowed his brows. Yi Zhao picked up her cup and took a sip of tea. "Mr. Sun, it's getting late. I should go back to the hotel." Sun Shaoqing had wanted to play another round, but when he heard what Yi Zhao said, he immediately stood up and said, "I'll drive you back. Then I'll have to trouble Mr. Cien." Yi Zhao stood up, put on her coat and hat. Sun Shaoqing also picked up the suit jacket hanging at the side and put it on. "It's my pleasure." About 10 minutes later, the car stopped in front of the hotel. Yi Zhao got out of the car and said goodbye to Sun Shaoqing. She also told him to drive safely. Sun Shaoqing nodded slightly. "I will." Yi Zhao turned around and walked towards the hotel. As soon as she arrived at the hotel room, Lin Sha gossiped, "How was it? Did you get along well with Mr. Sun?" Yi Zhao nodded slightly. "It was alright." Lin Sha looked Yi Zhao up and down and felt that the two of them were very promising. One was handsome. The other was beautiful. Both were exceptional. They were simply a perfect match. Yi Zhao continued, "Sister Sha, let's go back tomorrow. Have you packed your luggage?" Lin Sha nodded. "Don't worry, it's already packed." The next morning, the two of them arrived at the airport. On the plane, Lin Sha said with some worry, "It's almost the new year, and I haven't found a job yet." Zhuo, what kind of job do you think I should look for after the new year?" Lin Sha had been working in a factory. Life in the factory was dull and boring. She did the same thing every day. Lin Sha wanted to change jobs. However, she didn't know how to do anything else. She couldn't find a suitable job at all. Zhuo looked up slightly. "Sister Sha, you are only 20 years old this year. If I were you, I would not choose to work just yet. I would pick up my books again, go back to study for senior year, and take the college entrance exam the year after next. Take the exam you want to take, study the major you like. After graduation, do what you want to do." Lin Sha looked at Zhuo in surprise. "But I'm already 20 years old this year." Zhuo smiled slightly. "Sister Sha, you're only 2 years older than me. I'm a senior in high school this year, and I'll take the college entrance exam next year. You should go back and review the high school curriculum. Next year, transfer into senior year, and the year after that, take the college entrance exam. You'll only be 1 year behind me. 20 years old is just the beginning of your life." Studying was not the only way out. But studying was the best way out for Lin Sha. Moreover, no matter where she went to work now, her education was the most important thing. When Zhuo spoke so seriously, Lin Sha was a little hesitant. "Can I really do it, Zhuo?" Zhuo nodded. "Sister Sha, if you want to learn, I can help you review." After saying that, Zhuo continued, "By the way, Sister Sha, what was your dream when you were in school?" Lin Sha thought for a long time. "In the past, my dream was to be a lawyer. Then work hard towards this goal. Get into the University of Political Science and Law. Become an excellent lawyer." "Sister Sha, you are 20 years old this year. The year after next, you will be 22 when you take the college entrance exam. After graduating from university, you will be 26. If you go for a master's degree, whether a 2-year or 3-year program, you won't be 30 when you graduate. At 30, do you want to live the life you want, or do you want to be a housewife worrying about daily necessities? Don't you think my dream is ridiculous and unrealistic? How could someone like her become a lawyer?" Chapter 107. A self-deprecating look appeared in Lin Sha's eyes. Zhuo grabbed Lin Sha's hand. "It's not ridiculous, nor is it unrealistic. Only people who don't have dreams are pathetic." Hearing this, Lin Sha suddenly remembered the scene of attending the Melody anniversary party. The people sitting next to her were all talking about things she didn't understand. Finance, stocks. At that time, she was wondering if she would understand if she had a higher education. Zhuo's words woke her up. Lin Sha held Zhuo's hand and said, Zhuo, I'll listen to you. It's good that you've figured it out, Sister Sha. After figuring out what to do, Lin Sha became relaxed. After a 5-hour flight, the two of them arrived at Yun capital. Knowing Zhuo's flight, Yisun had been waiting outside the airport for a long time. When he saw Zhuo and Lin Sha, Yisun came over excitedly. Big niece. Sha. This way. Zhuo pulled her suitcase and jogged over. Uncle. Lin Sha also called him uncle. Yisun took the suitcases from both of them. Let's go home quickly. Yisun first sent Lin Sha back before driving home. Yishu did not go to work today. She cooked a big table of delicious dishes at home and waited for Zhuo to come back to eat. She had not seen Yishu for a week. As soon as she reached home, Zhuo gave her a big hug. Mom! I missed you so much. Mom misses you too. Although they had only been separated for a week, it felt as long as a year for the mother and daughter. After dinner, Zhuo took out the gifts she bought for Yishu and Yisun. Although the two of them blamed Zhuo for spending money recklessly, they were still very happy in their hearts. Zhuo took out the gifts that grandfather Yang had given her. Mom, these are gifts from one of my patients. There's some jewelry inside. You can wear it. Mom is already old, why would she wear jewelry? Yishu rejected with a smile. It looks better on you young people. Yizeo said, Mom, how are you old? You're not old at all. When we go out, people say we look like sisters. Besides, I still have to go to school. Our school doesn't allow jewelry. Most importantly, gold bracelets and gold chains don't look good on a student like me. With that said, Yishu agreed to accept the jewelry. In the evening, Yizeo opened her live stream room and prepared to broadcast chess. As soon as she logged into her account, she discovered that her fan count had increased from 10 million to 50 million. Furthermore, her participation in the live broadcast of Melody's anniversary party had been edited into videos. Currently, the number of views on the Melody platform had already exceeded 100 million. The moment she opened the comments section, it was filled with Yizeo V587. Glory of the world, beauty. There were also many people who had previously sent Yizeo hateful private messages now apologizing to her. Yizeo was slightly surprised before opening the live stream. Because she was used to not showing her face, she still did not show her face this time. After watching Yizeo's live stream of the gala, she's so beautiful. Yizeo, show your face. I've loved Yizeo for 10,000 years. User, Heaven-toppling purple gold hammer 1225 gifted 10 sports cars. User, that dog gifted a sports car. Yizeo, why aren't you showing your face again? I'm afraid that after you see my face, you won't pay attention to my chess skills anymore. Yizeo, you're so narcissistic. But I love it. Our Yizeo could clearly rely on her looks to make a living, but she insists on relying on her talent. Yizeo logged off after streaming for an hour. Muyorong kept her eyes on the screen until Yizeo logged off. Why was it that Yizeo could continue streaming, while she could only hide behind the screen and secretly watch? She was not convinced. At this moment, Muyorong's phone rang. It was her manager, Zhao Tao. Hello, brother Tao. Muyorong picked up the phone. Yorong, with such a major event happening, shouldn't you explain it on a live stream? Do you know you've already lost 20 million fans? Zhao Tao continued. It's normal for life to have some twists and turns. Moreover, these words didn't come from you in the beginning. You're also one of the victims. I'm sorry, brother Tao. My current state is not suitable for a live stream. Without the attention of thousands, without her looks, and without her chess skills, what could she use to stream? What could she use to retain her fans? Zhao Tao continued. But you can't solve the problem by hiding like this. Silence means acquiescence. Do you know that Yizeo has already gained 50 million fans? Muyorong only had 30 million fans at her peak. Yizeo now had 50 million fans. Muyorong bit her lip. 1 month. Brother Tao. At most 1 month. 1 month later, I will definitely come back. Give everyone a satisfactory reply. 1 month later, Grandfather Yang would definitely recover. At that time, he would definitely thank her in Yun capital. After receiving Old Master Yang's thanks, she would be able to gain trust points and upgrade the system. With the help of the system, she would definitely be more dazzling than she was now. The Mu family would also rise to a higher level with the Yang family's help. Brother Tao sighed. Alright then. It's good that you know what you're doing. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Just as Mu Yorong had thought, in this 1 month, Old Master Yang, who was far away in the capital, had recovered very quickly. Thus, the old man wanted to take advantage of the New Year's Eve to come to Yun capital and properly thank Yizeo. At that time, Yizeo had left a phone number for Old Master Yang, but the old man had accidentally lost it. He only knew that the doctor's surname was Yi and that she lived in Yun capital. He did not know her specific address. During this period, Mu Yorong had also made Soldier Mu pay attention to the situation in the capital every day. On the night of the 25th of the 12th lunar month, Soldier Mu brought back a piece of good news. Yorong! Today, an important figure came from the capital. He said he was looking for the divine doctor to repay the favor of saving his life. But... Speaking up to this point, Soldier Mu paused. The divine doctor they are looking for has the surname Yi. Everything else matched, but the surname did not match. Mu Yorong's eyes lit up. After waiting for so many days, she finally received the good news. Father, have you forgotten? My original surname is Yi. The divine Dr. Yi they are looking for is me. Old Master Yang was old, so it was normal for him to get the surname wrong. After all, her background was complicated. Moreover, apart from her medicine, nothing else could have cured Old Master Yang. Therefore, Old Master Yang was definitely here to thank her for saving his life. Chapter 108. Hearing Mu Yorong say this, Soldier Mu's eyes lit up. Right. After all, Mu Yorong used to be called Yi Yorong. So, the big shot from the capital was definitely here to look for Mu Yorong to return the favor. Thinking that their Mu family would soon be able to establish a relationship with a big shot, Soldier Mu was very excited. He looked at Mu Yorong and said, Yorong, tell father, who is that big shot? Even now, he knew that the person who had come to look for Mu Yorong was a big shot from the capital, but he did not know who that big shot was. Mu Yorong asked, Father, do you know the Yang family of the capital? Yang family? Soldier Mu narrowed his eyes. Could it be the Yang family of the LP group? Mu Yorong shook her head. Soldier Mu frowned. It's not LP. There were only two prominent Yang families in the capital. One was the Yang family that founded LP group. The other was the head of the 10 great families. As for the other Yang families, they were not worth mentioning. If it wasn't LP group's Yang family, could Mu Yorong have saved the head of the 10 great families, the Yang family? Thinking of this, Soldier Mu's expression became fearful. Mu Yorong saw through Soldier Mu's thoughts and smiled. Father, you guessed correctly. It's that Yang family. Soldier Mu swallowed his saliva. It's that Yang family, the head of the 10 great families? Yes. Mu Yorong nodded. I saved Yang Zhenyuan, Old Master Yang. Hearing this, Soldier Mu felt that his entire person was in a daze. Yang Zhenyuan. A legendary figure that only existed in stories. The Old Master's position in the capital was only second to Tsun Fifth Master. With the Mu family's current strength, they couldn't even compare to the LP Yang family, let alone the Yang family, the head of the 10 great families. Soldier Mu was so excited that he couldn't say a word for a long time. That was the Yang family. His daughter was too capable. She actually became Old Master Yang's savior. As expected of the Mu family's bloodline. If it were that trashy Zhao, could she have done it? Seeing Soldier Mu like this, Mu Yorong smiled and said, Father, this is too exaggerated. I only saved Old Master Yang, and you are already so excited. If I were to marry 5th Master Tsun in the future, wouldn't you be scared to death? Compared to 5th Master Tsun, the Yang family was still far behind. Only then did Soldier Mu come to his senses and hold Mu Yorong's hand. Yorong, tell me, what exactly is going on? Everything is fine, but how did you save Old Master Yang? Soldier Mu's greatest fear was that it would all be for nothing. He still had to clarify things a little. Mu Yorong also knew Soldier Mu's worries. A year ago, Old Master Yang suffered from a serious illness. There was no medicine to cure him, and he was diagnosed as terminally ill by the hospital. Father, you know my ability. I gave Old Master Yang a medicinal pill left behind by the divine Dr. Huatua. Old Master Yang only recovered after taking my medicine. Since it was a terminal diagnosis, could a normal doctor cure it? Now that Grandfather Yang had come to the capital to look for his savior, who else could it be other than her? After understanding the cause and effect of the matter, Soldier Mu felt much more at ease. His eyes were filled with excitement as he looked at Mu Yorong and said, Yorong, our family's company is currently at a critical moment. If we can obtain the help of the Yang family, we will definitely be able to win the bid for CY Company's project in the capital. CY Company's cooperation proposal was a big piece of meat. There were simply too many companies that wanted to win the bid. The Mu family was just an unremarkable small company among the many that had submitted bids. If they wanted to win the cooperation proposal, they didn't even have a 0.01% chance. Mu Yorong patted Soldier Mu's hand. "Father, I understand everything you're saying. Don't worry, I'm now Old Master Yang's savior. Even if I don't say it, they will know what to do." The Yang family relied entirely on Old Master Yang to support them. Therefore, the current He to the Yang family was not as simple as Old Master Yang's savior. If it wasn't for her, the entire Yang family would have fallen. Therefore, she was now equivalent to the entire Yang family's savior. Not to mention a collaboration, even if she wanted the stars in the sky, the Yang family would have to find a way to get them. A bright light flashed through Mu Yorong's eyes, and the corners of her lips curled up. Soldier Mu looked at Mu Yorong. "Yorong, your two older brothers are inferior to you. In the future, our Mu family will rely on you." When Mu Yorong married Sun fifth master in the future, there would be even greater glory waiting for the Mu family. In the past, Soldier Mu had been somewhat worried that Mu Yorong wouldn't be able to marry Sun fifth master as she wished. Chapter 109. After all, that was the high and mighty Sun fifth master. Now it seemed that his daughter was simply a fairy of the nine heavens, even more noble than a phoenix. Sun fifth master would sooner or later bow down before his daughter. At that time, he would beat Sun fifth master's father-in-law. The entire Tsun group would have to give half to their family. After Mu Yorong gave birth to a child and stabilized her position, the entire Tsun family would belong to the Mu family. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. Shenrong walked over with a cup of tea in her hand. "What are you two talking about? Why are you chatting so happily? Come, have a sip of tea." Mu Yorong took a sip of tea. Soldier Mu told Shenrong about what had happened. When Shenrong heard that Mu Yorong was actually the savior Old Master Yang was looking for, her reaction was even more excited than Soldier Mu's. She had only heard about Old Master Yang from the circle of wealthy ladies today. She did not expect that the main character of this matter was her daughter. If those wealthy ladies found out, they would die of envy. In the future, she would hold an A-list position in their circle. Those wealthy ladies who looked down on her now would have to come begging in the future. The corners of Shenrong's mouth were almost at the edge of her ears. She knew that her daughter was not ordinary. Sooner or later, she would soar 90,000 li. Fortunately, we broke off the engagement with the Tsun family. How could that rundown Tsun family be worthy of my daughter? Shenrong continued, "Oh right, old Mu, is the Tsun family still in Yin capital? We can't let them see Yorong. What if they know that Yorong is now Old Master Yang's savior and refuse to leave our family? With a rundown family like the Tsun family, what shameless things couldn't they do?" Shenrong felt disgusted whenever she thought of the appearance of that old woman from the Tsun family and Zhou Xiang's marriage proposal. How many years ago was the engagement? They actually still had the face to take it seriously. They are penniless now. Even if they want to leave, they can't, Mu Yorong continued. The last time I saw that old woman from the Tsun family, she was even begging on the streets. Really? Shenrong asked in surprise. She recalled how glorious the Tsun family had been in Yin capital back then. She had not expected they would also have this day. While she was surprised, a gleeful glint flickered in Shenrong's eyes. Back then, they had looked up to the Tsun family and had to consider the Tsun family's face in every matter. They had even spared no expense in using their unborn daughter to curry favor with the Tsun family. Now, the tables had finally turned. Mu Yorong nodded. "I saw it with my own eyes. How could it be fake? If the Tsun family had not fallen, how could old Lady Tsun have dressed like that?" Mu Yorong recalled that night in front of the barbecue stall, old Lady Tsun's shabby clothes. It was simply pitiful. Soldier Mu narrowed his eyes. "In short, Yorong, you should stay as far away from them as possible. The Tsun family is no longer on the same level as us. You don't need to say this." "I know," Mu Yorong said. Since she had been reborn, she naturally had to wear the heaviest crown and marry the noblest man. Otherwise, what was the point of her rebirth? Therefore, Mu Yorong had done the same as in her previous life. Once she returned, she broke off the engagement with the Tsun family. Her mistake in her previous life was that she should not have married that man and ruined her life. Not in this life. Wasn't Yi Zhao becoming more and more dazzling? Then let Yi Zhao marry him. She wanted the her from her previous life to become the Yi Zhao of this life. Thinking of this, a bright light flashed in Mu Yorong's eyes. She continued, "Right, father, mother, I want to discuss something with you." "Speak." Soldier Mu turned his head. Mu Yorong continued, "In a while, I'm going to send a New Year's gift to the Yi family. I hope mother can accompany me." "What? Send a New Year's gift to the Yi family?" Shenrong widened her eyes in shock, her eyes filled with disbelief. "Yorong, you mean the Yi Shu family?" "Yes." Mu Yorong nodded very calmly. Shenrong said speechlessly, "Yorong, you must have a fever." It was one thing for Yi Shu, that shameless slut, to have swapped her daughter, but she had even tormented Mu Yorong for so many years. Mu Yorong was still thinking of giving her a New Year's gift. She was really crazy. "I don't have a fever, Mom. I'm very clear-headed now." "Why?" Shenrong continued, "It's not that you don't know how Yi Shu has treated you all these years. Even if I killed her with a knife, I wouldn't feel relieved. You actually want to give her a New Year's gift." Mu Yorong did not directly answer Shenrong's question. She continued, "Mom, do you know about the Song family?" Chapter 110. Which Song family? Shenrong was stunned. Mu Yorong suppressed the fear in her heart. Song group, Song Shiyu. After saying this, Mu Yorong continued, "Song Shiyu has yet to marry. You want Yi Zhao to marry Song Shiyu?" Soldier Mu's words revealed Mu Yorong's thoughts. Mu Yorong nodded. The Song clan holds a high position in the capital, and Song Shiyu is the only successor of the Song clan. At such a young age, he has already taken the position of the head of the Song group. Although such a person cannot be compared to 5th Master Tsun, he can still be considered on par. Soldier Mu paused, then he said, "Yorong, I know that you are a kind and good child, but Yi Zhao is not worth it." Song Shiyu was a famous handsome man in Yin capital. He was only 26 years old this year. Not only did he have the looks of a boy and a girl, he was incomparably handsome but also capable. Given time, he would definitely soar to the heavens. If it weren't for 5th Master Tsun, Song Shiyu would be more than enough to match up with Mu Yorong. What did Yi Zhao count as? Mu Yorong was good in everything, but she was too kind. She actually treated her as a younger sister, and even wanted to set up Song Shiyu with Yi Zhao. Mu Yorong smiled. "Father, you only know the surface. I naturally have my reasons for this arrangement." Although Song Shiyu was famous on the outside, he was extremely corrupt and dark on the inside. Back then, Song Shiyu had married her. But he did not treat her like a wife, and he had never touched her. He tortured her every day, and in the end, he destroyed the Mu Corporation. His parents also died in a fire. Mu Yorong would never believe that the fire had nothing to do with Song Shiyu. To Mu Yorong, Song Shiyu was a demon. A demon that ate people. When she thought about it now, Mu Yorong still had lingering fear in her heart. When she was young and ignorant, she actually thought that Song Shiyu was a good man. Now that she thought about it, it was really laughable. But no matter what you do, you can't let Yi Zhao marry Song Shiyu. Shenrong frowned and continued, "Yi Zhao no longer puts you in her eyes. If she marries into the Song family, she will definitely use Song Shiyu to suppress us. If it were up to me, I would take this opportunity to teach that little slut a lesson. Let that little slut never be able to turn the tables." "Mom, don't worry." Mu Yorong's eyes flashed with determination. Song Shiyu won't. Song Shiyu was a heartless demon. Would he fight for a woman? Mu Yorong had been married to him for so long, but she had never seen Song Shiyu treat any woman well. To him, a woman was just a doll. Song Shiyu's hands were stained with blood, and he didn't even spare his biological father. Yi Zhao marrying him was equivalent to falling into hell on earth. No! It would be even worse than falling into hell. Shenrong did not understand why her daughter was so confident. She continued, even if Song Shiyu would not stand up for Yi Zhao, Yurong, it's not like you don't know what kind of family the Song clan is. What makes you think that Song Shiyu would listen to you and obediently marry Yi Zhao? The Song family was equivalent to the emperor of Yun capital. Not to mention the Mu family. Even the high officials of Yun capital had to give them some face. I received an invitation to the Song family's banquet the day after tomorrow. Mu Yorong continued, I plan to bring Yi Zhao along. According to Mu Yorong's understanding of Song Shiyu, he loved torturing beautiful women the most. Otherwise, her in her previous life wouldn't have died so miserably. Yi Zhao was so beautiful, and her end would probably be 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times worse than hers. A sinister smile appeared on Mu Yorong's lips. You got the Song family's invitation? Hearing this, Soldier Mu and Shenrong were both shocked. When did Mu Yorong become so familiar with Song Shiyu? Actually, even Mu Yorong herself didn't know. In her previous life, she had just returned to the Mu family when she received the Song family's invitation. At the banquet, she had fallen in love with Song Shiyu at first sight. She would not marry anyone but him. She did not expect that it would turn into a nightmare for her. This life was different from her previous life. With Yi Zhao as a stepping stone, Yi Zhao would fall into hell on earth, while she would walk to the peak of her life. Song Shiyu was so good-looking. At that time, Yi Zhao would definitely fall madly in love with him. Just like her in her previous life. She would not marry without him. Thinking of this, the corners of Mu Yorong's lips curled up. Her eyes were filled with pride as she continued, so, mother, in a while, you will go with me to the Yi family and let Yi Zhao know that our Mu family actually still cares about her very much. Shenrong's brows were deeply furrowed. Yorong, mother is really getting more and more confused about you. What kind of family is the Song family? How can you let Yi Zhao climb up to the Song family? She really did not understand why Mu Yorong would treat Yi Zhao so well. Chapter 111. After saying that, Shenrong continued, instead of letting that little bitch Zhuo benefit, why don't you let your 2 cousins follow you to the Song family? After all, they're family. If Song Shiyu takes a fancy to them, our family can at least bask in their glory together. Let Zhuo go. That trash Zhuo, how could she be worthy of Song Shiyu? Soldier Mu nodded in agreement. I think what your mother said is very reasonable. Mu Yorong shook her head lightly. Bask in their light? Father, mother, you're thinking too simply. Do you really think that marrying into the Song family means stepping into a nest of riches? Let me tell you, that person, Song Shiyu, is far more terrifying than you imagine. I don't think you want my 2 cousins to perish at such a young age, right? What do you mean? Soldier Mu frowned. Exactly what I said, Mu Yorong replied. Yorong, do you know something? Soldier Mu narrowed his eyes. Mu Yorong didn't say anything else. She only said, Dad, Mom, just listen to me. Whether it's the Song family or Song Shiyu, they are not good people. As for Yi Zhuo's fate, you'll see it soon enough. Mu Yorong spoke seriously, and Soldier Mu could tell she wasn't joking. This daughter of his was intelligent and beautiful. She never did anything pointless. She definitely had her own reasons. Soldier Mu turned to look at Shenrong. Since Yorong has already said so, you should follow Yorong to the Yi family later. Although Shenrong was displeased, she could only nod in agreement. At these words, Soldier Mu seemed to think of something and added, Yorong, since the person old Master Yang wants to find is you, hurry up and go see him to make things clear. It's almost the new year, and CY Company's cooperation case can't be delayed. There's no rush, Mu Yorong smiled. Since old Master Yang had come all the way from the capital, it meant he valued her, his lifesaver, very much. If she went to him now, wouldn't that demean her? Moreover, back in the capital, old Master Yang had chased her out of the Yang family. This time, she would make old Master Yang personally apologize to her. She would make him experience what it felt like to slap his own face. She was the descendant of the divine physician Hua Tuo. How could she be easily offended? ***. December 25th. According to the customs of Cloud Capital, today was the day to welcome the Jade Emperor. The Yi family lived on the first floor, so Yi Shu placed the sacrificial table in the small garden outside. She carefully arranged the offerings and kowtowed several times with great sincerity. "Auntie!" A very familiar voice sounded. Yi Shu raised her head and saw Mu Yorong, the daughter she had raised for 18 years. "Why Yorong?" Yi Shu found it hard to believe. Mu Yorong had returned to the Mu family for nearly half a year. This was the first time she had come back to see her. Subconsciously, Yi Shu felt that Mu Yorong hadn't come with good intentions. This child had always had strange thoughts. She had never been close to her. Although they had once been mother and daughter, their bond was as thin as paper. Mu Yorong smiled and said, "Auntie, let me introduce you. This is my mother." Shenrong forced a stiff smile and nodded at Yi Shu. Yi Shu replied, "Come in quickly and have a seat." The apartment had 3 bedrooms and 1 living room. It wasn't very big. Mu Yorong glanced around the room. Disdain filled her eyes. Logically speaking, with Yi Shu's current status on the Miao Yin platform, the income should be quite good. How could she still be living in such a shabby place? Could it be that Yi Sun, that useless gambler who refused to improve himself, had already lost all their money? Yi Zhuo was still live-streaming on the wonderful sound platform, so their days were barely passable. But once Yi Zhuo lost her popularity, they would probably have to move back into a basement again. Soon. She was about to reclaim her beauty and glory. Her chess skills were unmatched. What was Yi Zhuo compared to her? Yi Zhuo couldn't even compare to one of her little fingers. A proud gleam flashed through Mu Yorong's eyes as she continued, "Auntie, my mother and I came to give you a New Year's gift. By the way, is Sister Yi Zhuo not at home?" Yi Shu wasn't someone who liked to take advantage of others. Moreover, Mu Yorong looked exactly like a weasel paying New Year's greetings to a chicken. "Yorong, you're too polite. We can't accept this gift." Mu Yorong smiled. "There's no reason to take back a gift once it's been brought. Just accept it." Yi Shu still declined. Shenrong stood quietly to the side. Chapter 112. Her eyes were filled with disgust. She would feel disgusted if she stayed in such a dirty place for even a second. If Mu Yorong had not insisted on coming, how could she have appeared here? Shenrong could not imagine how much pain Mu Yorong had suffered after following Yi Shu for so many years. At this moment, Yi Zhao came out of the room. The room was not air-conditioned, but she did not feel cold. She was wearing a white strapless dress, and her exquisite collarbone was emitting a cold light in the air. She was too beautiful. Even wearing such ordinary clothes, it was still impossible for people to look away. Mu Yorong looked at her, a flash of jealousy appearing in her eyes. However, it was almost over. Yi Zhao was so beautiful, but in the end, she still had to fall into hell. She suffered all kinds of torture. At this moment, Mu Yorong once again thought of the torture she had suffered in her previous life. It was not fear, but joy. It was exhilarating. After all, she had already escaped from hell. And Yi Zhuo was walking into hell. "Sister Yi Zhuo." Mu Yorong raised a kindly smile and greeted Yi Zhuo. Yi Zhuo was not in the mood to act with Mu Yorong today. "Why are you here?" Shenrong said with a cold face, "Is this how you talk to your sister?" Yi Shu frowned slightly. Usually, when she was at home, she would not be willing to say anything harsh to Yi Zhuo. What right did Shenrong have? Her daughter was not born to be bullied by others. Yi Shu turned and looked at Shenrong. "Zhuo is my daughter now. She doesn't have a sister. If Mrs. Mu wants to flaunt her status as a wealthy lady, go back to your Mu family and flaunt it there." Shenrong's face turned pale. What kind of person was Yishu? A shameless bitch who had given birth to a bastard daughter. She also dared to treat her like this. Mu Yorong held Shenrong's hand and gestured for her not to be angry. Then, she smiled at Yishu. Auntie Yi, my mother has always been like this. Actually, she has a very good heart. Please don't hold it against her. Yishu increasingly felt that these two, mother and daughter, did not have good intentions. She frowned and said, I will not accept your things. Our family's temple is small, and it cannot accommodate a great Buddha. The two of you should return to your wealthy areas. Mu Yorong was not angry either. She continued, Auntie, I know we had many unpleasant incidents in the past. At that time, I was too young and did not know any better. I made you angry. I came here today to apologize to you. Yishu looked at Mu Yorong. The current Mu Yorong was dressed luxuriously and had an exquisite face. There was no trace of her past self. The only difference was that Yishu felt Mu Yorong was not as beautiful as she used to be. The previous Mu Yorong was like a ball of light. She brought her own brightness wherever she went. Yishu really could not understand what Mu Yorong was trying to do. Yizhua took a step forward and looked down at Mu Yorong. Our family does not welcome you. Do you need me to repeat myself? Mu Yorong did not waste any more words. She took out a red invitation card from her bag. Sister Yizhua, the day after tomorrow is the Song family's old lady's 78th birthday banquet. I hope that you can attend it with me. This is the invitation. With that, Mu Yorong turned to look at Shenrong. Mother, let's go. Shenrong nodded and followed Mu Yorong's footsteps. Yizhua looked at the backs of the mother and daughter. She raised her brows slightly and picked up the invitation card on the table. The Song family. Song Shiyu. Yizhua knew a little about Song Shiyu. Because recently, Zhao Yang wanted to work with Song Shiyu. But there were too many people who wanted to work with Song Shiyu. Zhao Yang had never had the chance to get an appointment with him. Yizhua also wanted to get to know Song Shiyu. After all, he was a potential partner. If this person was not worth working with, then there was no need for Zhao Yang to spend all his time on Song Shiyu. Yizhua narrowed her eyes. She had originally not been interested in the birthday banquet that Mu Yorong had mentioned. But now it seemed she still had to make a trip. Yizhua closed the invitation, a plan forming in her heart. Just then, Yishu picked up the things that Mu Yorong had brought and headed for the door. Mom, what are you doing? Yizhua asked. Yishu said, they didn't take their things with them. I'll send them over. Yishu really did not want the things that Mu Yorong had brought. Mom, they drove here. Even if you chase after them now, you won't be able to catch up. Yishu frowned. Then what should we do? Why don't I call a cab and send them over? Yizhua smiled. Isn't there an orphanage across from our house? Let's send these things to the orphanage. Oh, right, I also bought some clothes and toys. When the delivery arrives, I'll go with you. Yi Zhao had been an orphan in her previous life. Chapter 113. In this life, she also wanted to do her best to do something for those homeless children. She went to the orphanage in advance to understand the situation. Yizhua bought a total of more than 500 down jackets for the children. She also bought some toys. On the way to the orphanage, Yishu asked curiously, Zhuo, what do you think Mu Yorong and her mother coming to our house today was really about? Were they really just here to give us New Year's gifts? Of course not. Then what do they want? Yishu asked. Yizhua said slowly, Mu Yorong's real goal is likely for me to attend the Song family's old lady's birthday banquet together with her. Yishu frowned. She definitely doesn't have good intentions. Zhuo, you must not go. It's fine, Mom. Yizhua hugged Yishu's arm. It's just Mu Yorong. I'm not afraid of her. Yishu was still a little worried. In the circles of the rich and powerful, things were often complicated. Yishu was afraid that Yizhua would be bullied. Yizhua comforted Yishu. Mom, I grew up in that circle. Don't worry, I know how to handle it. This banquet is quite important to me. I definitely have to attend. Hearing Zhuo say this, Yishu could only compromise. Then you must bring your phone with you when the time comes. If you see that the situation isn't right, call me immediately. Yes. Zhuo nodded. I know. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of the banquet. Zhuo was dressed and ready when she arrived at the apartment block. She saw that the Mu family's car was already parked there. Mu Yorong was wearing a down jacket over her gown. She stood outside waiting for Zhuo. Sister Zhuo. It was almost the new year, and it was also the Song family's old lady's birthday banquet today, so Zhuo wore a wine-red gown. It was a very simple style, and it was somewhat modest. But worn by Zhuo, it gave off a lofty, international air. Mu Yorong frowned slightly. Zhuo was really going all out for beauty. It was such a cold day, yet she wasn't even wearing a down jacket over it. Why didn't she freeze to death? Since there was a free car, Zhuo naturally would not refuse. She walked forward directly, got in the car, and said to Mu Yorong outside, "We can set off now." Mu Yorong, was she the car owner, or was Zhuo the car owner? But now was not the time to argue with Zhuo. Mu Yorong also got in the car and instructed the driver to depart. Then she asked with concern, "Sister Zhuo, don't you feel cold wearing so little?" Zhuo smiled faintly. Doesn't Miss Mu know about the temperature-adjustable gown? Temperature-adjustable gown? Mu Yorong frowned. No wonder Zhuo's expression hadn't changed. It turned out she was wearing a high-tech product. These past few days, she had also heard about the temperature-adjustable gown, but because it required an appointment, she hadn't been able to buy one. Could it be that Zhuo had connections? Sister Zhuo, where did you buy this gown? Zhuo raised an eyebrow slightly. You want to buy it? Mu Yorong really did not want to lower her head in front of Zhuo, but at this moment, she had no choice. She nodded and took out her phone. This is the one. Zhuo glanced at it and said in a flat tone, 5 million. She wouldn't let Mu Yorong's money go to waste. 5 million? Mu Yorong's eyes widened. Although ZY's official website did not list the price of this gown, their most expensive gown was only in the six-figure range, so how could it be sold for 5 million? Zhuo nodded. Why? Do you think it's too expensive? This is a design by ZY Group's top designer. If you don't buy it, plenty of people are waiting in line. The weather was getting colder and colder. Once the system was upgraded, Mu Yorong could rebroadcast and reappear in front of 5th Master Cien. However, if she was so bloated and wrapped up like a dumpling, how could she showcase her beauty in front of 5th Master Cien? Mu Yorong really liked this outfit. Thinking about how she had tried to get an appointment for over 10 days without success, Mu Yorong continued, "Are you sure you can buy it for 5 million? Yes. Zhuo's tone was light. Give me the money today, and the goods will arrive tomorrow. I'll have my assistant transfer the money to you." It was just 5 million. When she married 5th Master Cien, forget 5 million, even 50 million or 500 million would be nothing. The corners of Zhuo's lips curled up. It was still easier to earn money from a fool. For the sake of 5 million, Zhuo decided to treat Mu Yorong a little better for a while. Not long after, the car stopped in front of the Song family's manor. Today was the Song family's old lady's birthday banquet. The interior and exterior of the Song family's manor were decorated with a very festive atmosphere. Chapter 114. Zhuo and Mu Yorong handed the invitations to the staff at the entrance to check, and then followed the waiters into the manor. The Song family was worthy of being the emperor of Yunjing, and the interior was decorated with extraordinary splendor. The guests coming and going were all nobles from across the country. Mu Yorong looked around. Finally, not far away, she saw the man she hated to the bone. He wore a tailored suit and stood in the middle of the crowd with a cigarette between his fingers, accepting everyone's flattery and fawning. His beautiful pair of peach blossom eyes were slightly narrowed. He had an air of looking down on all living beings. In the past, she did not know why Song Shiyu liked to narrow his eyes. Later, she found out that this was the way Song Shiyu looked at his prey. Beneath that gaze was disdain, contempt, disgust. Mu Yorong's final scene before her death was Song Shiyu squinting his eyes, with even a smile at the corner of his mouth. "Tisk, life sure is tough. You're already like this and you're still not dead." After Song Shiyu said this, Mu Yorong closed her eyes forever. "Miss Mu." A pleasant male voice rang in Mu Yorong's ear, interrupting her thoughts. Mu Yorong looked up and saw that it was Song Shiyu. Just like in her previous life, Song Shiyu took the initiative to walk over and greet her. In her previous life, she foolishly thought that Song Shiyu had fallen in love with her at first sight. Not long after, when she saw the Song family's old lady come to the Mu family to propose marriage, she foolishly agreed, thinking Song Shiyu had truly fallen for her. At that time, she was filled with fantasies about marriage. She never imagined that from that day onwards, she would walk from heaven into hell. In this world, there was no such thing as love at first sight. "Mr. Song," Mu Yorong concealed the fear in her eyes very well. "This is my sister, Yi Zhuo." In this life, Song Shiyu's prey was Yi Zhuo. She had no need to be afraid of Song Shiyu. Layers of cold sweat appeared on Mu Yorong's back. She had originally thought that with Yi Zhuo here, she would not be afraid of Song Shiyu anymore. But when she saw Song Shiyu again, she still could not suppress the fear that radiated from her bones. Song Shiyu shifted his gaze to Yi Zhuo and extended his hand towards her. "Hello, Miss Yi." "Hello." Yi Zhuo shook his hand. At this moment, a servant came looking for Song Shiyu and whispered a few words into his ear. Song Shiyu's expression did not change. He turned to look at Yi Zhuo and Mu Yorong. "I have many guests today, and I have not been a good host. I hope you two young ladies can forgive me." Mu Yorong did not reply, and her expression was clearly a little unnatural. Yi Zhuo smiled slightly. "Mr. Song, please attend to your matters." Song Shiyu's gaze swept past Mu Yorong. The corners of his eyes narrowed slightly, and he turned to walk in another direction. Not long after, Song Shiyu walked over again. "Miss Yi, sorry to bother you. Please follow me." "What's the matter, Mr. Song?" Yi Zhuo raised her eyes slightly and put down the dessert in her hand. She had only eaten half of a very delicious dessert. What a pity. Song Shiyu's gaze fell on the dessert. It was an exquisite cherry cream cake. "It's old Master Yang looking for you. He heard that Miss Yi was also at the banquet, so he specially asked me to invite you over to thank you for saving his life." Yi Zhuo was old Master Yang's savior. Mu Yorong's eyes widened. She thought she was hearing things. Old Master Yang's savior was clearly her. What kind of savior was Yi Zhuo? That was simply bullshit. Mr. Song is mistaken. The person old Master Yang is looking for is me. At this moment, Mu Yorong could not care about anything else and spoke directly. What if old Master Yang realized that Yi Zhuo was not her and immediately left? Today was already the 28th of December. She could not wait any longer. Chapter 115. Hearing this, Song Shiyu turned to look at Mu Yorong. The expression in his eyes was faint, containing some probing. Being looked at like this by Song Shiyu, Mu Yorong felt she had returned to her previous life. In that stinking beast cage, Song Shiyu looked down at her from above. He had the noble, jade-like appearance of a gentleman, yet he was like a demon that had crawled out of hell. Sinister to the point of being terrifying. He could take her life at any moment. A layer of cold sweat appeared on Mu Yorong's forehead, but she had no choice but to pretend to be calm. She spoke again, "Mr. Song, I am old Master Yang's savior. The person he is looking for is me." Song Shiyu habitually rotated the thumb ring on his finger. "Miss Mu's surname is Yi. Before I was 18, my surname was Yi," Mu Yorong explained. "Before I was 18, my surname was Yi." Song Shiyu nodded slightly. "Then, Miss Mu, come with me." Mu Yorong bore the immense pressure and followed Song Shiyu's footsteps. Seeing that she had nothing else to do, Zhuo picked up the half-eaten cherry cake and continued eating. The Song family manor was very large. As the front hall was for receiving guests, it was not convenient for a private meeting, so Old Master Yang was waiting in the inner hall of the backyard. Old Master Yang and the Song family were old friends, and he was very familiar with the Song family's old lady. At this time, Old Master Yang had been chatting with the Song family's old lady in the inner hall. The Song family's old lady was a very kind elderly woman. She was already 78 years old this year. Because she had suffered a serious illness when she was young, she looked a little older than her actual age. Fortunately, she was still in good spirits. "I'm really happy to see that you're fine. Yunying will be very pleased in the afterlife too." After saying that, Old Lady Song sighed, then continued, "At our age, we'll see each other less and less from now on. One was 78, the other was 75. Even if they could live to 100, it would be less than 30 years. But could they really live to 100? How many centenarians were there in this world?" Such a topic couldn't help but be a little sad. Old Master Yang sighed. Old Lady Song continued, "I heard the divine doctor who cured you is especially young, and she's even a girl." Old Master Yang nodded. "Yes. Although little miracle Dr. Yi is young, her abilities are no small matter. My life was saved by little miracle Dr. Yi." Old Master Yang had already been prepared to die. He had even drafted a will. He never thought he would survive. Hearing this, Old Lady Song's eyes were filled with curiosity. What exactly did that little girl look like? It was said that when God opened a door for you, he would close a window. That little girl probably wasn't very good looking. Otherwise, her medical skills wouldn't be so exquisite. "Old Master Yang, Miss Mu is here." Song Shiyu's voice interrupted the conversation between the two elders.